All right, so this is my 2023 Scout Bobber. It's in Springfield Blue. Bassani exhaust. It's a slip-on, so nice and easy. And basically, today we hit about 700 miles since I bought it. Overall, been really enjoying the bike. I know there's a lot of people online with questions, how does it ride? A lot of people was asking about the shocks and stuff. So I'll kind of take you guys along. Just a quick little drive around this area. We're out here in Mililani on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. So we'll go ahead and show you guys what it rides like, just sounds, everything like that. But let's get to it. Let's head on out. So what we'll do today is we'll just head up to Mililani Mauka, which is mountain in Hawaiian, so pretty much up the mountain. Just for a quick little drive, we'll go up to the top and just back down. But overall, handles real nice. Out here, we're pretty famous for having terrible roads. It's definitely not the worst roads I've ever been on, but it's not great. So if you hear a little bit of bumping in my voice every now and then, that's probably what it is. Even with the terrible roads, however, it's really not all that bad. One thing that was an absolute must was the chair. The chair just had to go. The stock Indian seat that comes on the Scout Bobber is just horrendous. It feels solid, and I mean, to be fair, it's a bobber. You can't really expect a super comfy seat if you're trying to get that bobber look, but there's definitely better options. It's not quite as slim as the original seat that comes on the bike, but it's still not too bad. It doesn't take up a whole lot of space. They have the well, the one that I got is the Indian comfort seat, so it's from Indian. It's about $300, so not breaking the bank too much, but it's a lot more comfortable than the original one. It's a much thicker seat, so it definitely does kill that style a little bit if you like that bobber look, but it's not by a whole lot. You're still getting a pretty good looking seat. As far as the exhaust, I mean, I really don't like anything that's too obnoxious. The Bassani Slip-Ons, from what I've been told, is one of the less loud exhausts. Everything that you read online, stuff like that. Still plenty loud enough for me. I did take out the baffles just to see what they sounded like. Immediately put them back in because it was just ridiculously loud, in my opinion. I had a Scout Bobber driving next to me. He had the, I think it was the GP shorties that you can buy on Amazon, if I recall correctly. It's like $100, basically straight pipes it. That was loud. You could barely hear my own bike over that thing. So this really depends on what you're looking for, Some people like that loud sound. Some people like the more quiet sound. Some people like the moped sound out of the factory. I'm not one of them. Get a little bit of backfires, a little bit of pops here and there. Pretty good volume. The tone is nice, deep. Of course, when you're riding it, you hear a lot of that whine from the engine, but if you're off the bike, you still hear it, not as much. You got a lot more volume. As far as how it sounds, how it looks, I think it's a great bike. It is a little bit on the rougher side, so if you're looking for something to go long distances, which out here is perfect because we don't really go long distances anyway, this might not be the bike for you, but if you want, or if you're okay with a little bit of a rough ride, it's really not all that bad. So the seat makes a huge difference. You get a lot more cushion. You can actually ride it Before with the regular seat, I feel like you would be able to get about 45 minutes in before you get a little uncomfortable, a little bit sore. Now that's more like a couple hours, 2-3 hours. You know, the other day I took it about, I want to say we were riding for about 4 hours just around the island, just cruising, and it's really not that bad. The suspension everybody always talks about. The issue is that there's not a whole lot of options to get more comfortable suspension at this height. The Scout bobber is lowered by about half an inch from the factory, or not the factory, the regular Scout. And because of that, actually, was it half? I think it's half an inch. It's possible that it is an inch, but I can't recall exactly. But anyway, because it's lower than the original Scout, you're going to have less travel. I think this has like a 2-inch travel, if I recall reading that correctly. So just naturally more uncomfortable. You know, you feel a little bit more of the bumps in the road, things like that. You can get a couple of options that'll make it more smooth, but most of the options that you find online actually are going to raise the bike by about an inch. And you kind of lose that bobber style, you know? They also, I mean, they have like the progressive 444s, and there's a couple of others that you can get at the same, whoa, that was a good bump. They have a few that you can get at the low, you know, the lower height, so you're not losing that look. And I've heard they're a bit smoother, but honestly, if you just stand up over bumps that are a bit bigger, most of them aren't going to be an issue. It's really as smooth as you need it for just around town. Now, if you're riding this long distance every day, like I said, this probably isn't the bike for you. Either that, or you're going to need to put some money into it to change around the suspension. You're going to put some money into it to get a more comfortable seat. You know, there's a lot of things that you probably want to do to it. But if you're just doing it how I do it around town, or, you know, our speed limits out here max out at about 55, 60 miles an hour. It's really not all that terrible. Some lady came up, she's like, what kind of bike is that? I've never heard of that before. I've never seen a bike like that. It's just a different look, you know, if you want to be unique. The Harley guys might want to talk all their smack and, you know, everything about Indian, but at the end of the day, get something with 2 wheels, get something that you like. Get on the road, that's the main thing. You'll figure out exactly where your niche is once you're on the road and you're once you're on the road and you're driving and everything. But until then, dude, just get what you want. It really doesn't matter. Don't worry about getting judged, this and that. Just get on the road, see what you want to drive, see how you like to feel. I've been told this feels more like a Japanese bike because everything is a bit more precise. It's a bit more, I guess, structured feeling than a lot of Harleys. You know, it doesn't have that big chop. It doesn't feel all loose. That's just what I was told. I'm not super experienced as a rider, so I haven't gotten to get on all of these different bikes and ride them. If anybody's curious by chance, so I'm recording on an Osmo Action 4, and then the camera is just the DJI mic, not the mini one, the full-size mic. First time I'm actually using it in the helmet, so I really hope that it's not too loud. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste of 15-20 minutes that I'm doing this, but just giving it a shot, seeing what the best audio setup is for the cameras that I have and the way that I want to record it. I know you can get those nicer mics and stuff like that, but I really don't want to do all that right now. Get the shotgun. It's definitely a fun bike to ride. It's not some insane race bike. It's not insanely stiff, but it's also no slouch. You know, you've got pretty good power, pretty good torque. It's easy to learn on. This is actually my first like street bike. I grew up riding dirt bikes all the time, you know, almost every single day when I was a kid. So being on 2 wheels is nothing new for me, but being on a heavier bike on the street is new for me. But it's super comfortable. I mean, it's easy to learn on. The first day it was a little wonky because, you know, it's a heavier bike, but the center of gravity is super low. It's a little bit jerky, I would say, because it's not, you know, it's not a 30-40 horsepower little starter bike. It does have 100 horsepower, and it's like 75 torque or something like that. So it's a little bit more torquey on the bottom end if you're not used to something like that. But give it a couple days and you'll get used to how to manage the throttle and how to use it. It's really not all that terrible once you get used to it. Oh, that's a big bump. Another one. Oh, all right. See, situations like that kind of hurt. Just got to make sure you lift yourself off the seat. I wish wish it was a bit of a clearer day for you guys too. Out here, you never really know. I mean, some days it's super cloudy, some days it's pouring rain, some days it's shining. Some days you wake up and it's a beautiful day, and 10 minutes later it's pouring rain. You just never know out here. Super unpredictable weather. It just happened to be the day off where I had some time and could take it out. Another thing that a lot of people go through with this bike is it's a bit of a weird angle having the mirrors down here. It's not all too terrible because you can still see, but you definitely have to make more of an effort to look down. You know, when I got my bike, the mirrors were facing upwards, which is, I mean, the factory says you can do it either up or down. They're reversible. You just flip the mirrors to the other side and you put it up or down. When I got it, it was up. The visibility was great. You can see a lot, but it has that look that a lot of people don't like. So it really depends on what you're willing to sacrifice, as long as you make sure that you're aware of your surroundings. It is a little bit harder to see, so you have to look a little bit more often and make more of an effort to look, but in my opinion, it looks a lot better with the mirrors facing down. As far as the gas mileage, so I want to say it was a 3.3 gallon tank, so you'll probably get about 140 to 150 miles between fill-ups. I want to say online it says like 120, but you know, that's all just how you ride, right? I mean, if you're constantly punching it, you're going to be a lot less than that. If you're just cruising it, you'll be more than that. So, oh yeah, I don't know if you can see it in the reflection, but changed out the headlight. That stock headlight that the Scout Bobbers have is just terrible. Little halogen light. I mean, it's a candlestick in a bowl. There's really nothing fancy about it. At least get yourself something that's a bit more visible, but also something that you can see a little bit more when you're riding, because at nighttime that little candlestick won't do much for you. And here we are, LA gas station, and we are going to call it at that, folks. Thank you for coming along, and I'll see you later.